Welcome to Channel 17, the Town of Colonie Government Channel.
Hi, I'm Supervisor Paula Mahan, and welcome to Colonie Connect. Today, it's my pleasure to introduce Diane Morgan. She'll be our guest this morning, and Diane is the curator of the Pruyn House. Welcome, Diane.
Thank you.
It's nice to have you here. I know we've been trying to get together for a while to have you on the show. This is the time of the year when there are a lot of events that are going to be coming up at the Pruyn House in the summer, and of course there are events that go on all year long. So I thought this is a great opportunity for all of our viewers to learn a little bit more about the Pruyn House, and also so we can let them know about the upcoming events, because we certainly love to have a lot of people come and visit the Pruyn House. But what I'd like to do is maybe get a little background from you, if I could, and that is how long have you been at the Pruyn House?
Very good. Well, I've been there. This is my 15th year. Started in 1996 and started part-time, but has always really been full-time. But I've enjoyed every minute of it, even though I've been there these many years. I still enjoy so much being there in what I do.
Okay, and maybe you could tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, what interested you? What sparked your interest in the Pruyn House? Is there something that they do at the Pruyn House that you were interested in, and that kind of attracted you? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I'll tell you about myself. Actually, in college, I was a history major. I went on to get a master's degree in education and taught very briefly, and I was not that enamored with being the day-to-day school teacher. I actually stayed home for many years and raised 3 children, but then time came when I decided to go back to work. I was first working in a law office, which doesn't have much to do with Pruyn House, but then came the opportunity when Jean Olton, the previous town historian, and she was also director at Pruyn House, was retiring. And out of the blue, I was asked if I would be interested in the job. And of course I was. I had served on the board for 2 years before actually taking the job as director. And and right away just found that I loved it.
That's good. Well, you have that history background, and of course, it is a historical center, and so you can see, what that connection is there, and it is a little different than teaching students, being in a classroom.
Yes.
But it certainly is. It has that effect on children and adults that come to the Pruyn House, because there is a lot to be educated about. So being that you have that background, that fits in nicely. Let's talk a little bit about the location of the Pruyn House. There's some acreage there. There are different types of buildings.
Yes,
can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, it is located in town of Colonie, obviously, on Old Niskuna Road. And I usually tell people nearest exit 5 of the Northway, just south of Route 155, south of the Latham Post Office. I often have people in Latham call me or call our office and say, well, just where are you? And I'm always interested to realize that there's many people who are living even in Latham and don't really know where we are. But it is very easy to find. I think one of our advantages is we are very near the Northway. We're very near Wolf Road, and we're very easy to find, is what I tell people. We are a 5.5 acre site. We have 10 buildings on the property, the main building being the Pruyn House itself. This year we're celebrating 180 years old, the building itself. It also has on the property the Burmaster Barn, which was brought there in 1987. We also have a one-room schoolhouse. We have other outbuildings. But the interesting thing is that even as old as it is, the exciting part is that it was bought in 1983 by the town and has since then, now in our 27th year as a public facility, been completely restored. So over the course of the 14 years I've been there, I've seen changes to buildings, and I think now it's just this lovely piece of property that people can come and visit and enjoy. The mission of what's called the Friends of Pruyn House, who work hand in hand with the town, the mission is to be the cultural and educational and social center for the town. So we think we have a really important role in the town to be this place for people to come and enjoy and have all kinds of events there, which we do. We plan throughout the year, and of course the summertime, as you know, and the fall are our busiest times, and that's the season we're going into right now.
Now, you know, you mentioned the Friends of the Pruyn House as well as the town. There's a partnership here, and a lot of people, you're right, don't know the location, even though they live in the town of Colonie, and that's, you know, that's one of the good things about being on today's show. We would like to invite people to the Pruyn House and let them know where it's located. But the other part of it is a lot of people don't understand how it operates, what the present day operation is, where the staff comes from, what the partnership is, what it means to be on the board or a member of the Friends of Pruyn House. So maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Sure, I'd like to. I like to use the term joint venture, not as it would be legally, but when people come to visit, they say, well, how are you operating? And we live in a world where so many museums and historic sites are having such problems. And I say, well, the best part about our operation is that we are a joint venture. The town of Colonie is of course, owns all the property. There's a board of the town that oversees the site. We are also working with a group called the Friends of Pruyn House, which is a not-for-profit group. There is a board there too. There's an 18-member board. So what it is a joint venture working the town of Colonie with the Friends of Pruyn House. Now, the Friends of Pruyn House has the duty of overseeing the site on behalf of the town. And so they are the ones who plan programs, plan to a degree the care and maintenance of the property. We do have one custodian who is certainly an employee of the town, as is the staff, myself. But what we have is a great site for everyone to feel they're a part of. If you're a taxpayer in the town, you're part owner of the property. I tell that to young children who visit us. I say, now, if you have a mom and dad and you're living in the town, you're part of this house and it's yours, and this site belongs to every one of us. So together we've been able to keep this house running very well, we think, and are very grateful for the participation we have from these entities. On top of that, the wonderful thing is that we have a staff, very small, but it's certainly a hard-working staff. But on top of that, we have volunteers, and truly, we at the site could not function without the volunteers that we have. That's really what helps us to keep the site running. I would say a primary group of volunteers are the garden clubs, the ladies of the garden club, Fort Orange Garden Club. There's probably 30, 35 ladies that are in and out of there all during the season maintaining the gardens. That is under their care. The custodian takes care of the grounds and some care of the buildings. But the garden ladies, which is my term for them, are a very welcome sight when they arrive each spring and lay fertilizer and plant bulbs. And already, certainly, the perennials are up, and already the gardens are looking lovely, and it's just not quite mid-May yet. And the tulips have all bloomed. And the other group is Blue Creek Garden Club, and those ladies now used to care for the herb side of the garden, but they have decided they couldn't handle that anymore. Fort Orange has taken over the whole garden. But the wonderful thing with Blue Creek Garden Club is they come every December and decorate the whole house for us for the holidays. So, and they plan that months ahead. They have a different theme each year. So anyone who visits us in December sees that the house is completely decorated, and for that, again, we're grateful to the members of the Blue Creek Garden Club. On top of that, we just have a number of volunteers from the community who just like being there, and they primarily help us for the concerts in the barn in the summer. Without their help, those concerts wouldn't really happen. But also during the year, we have some ladies who come and help us with everything from mailing, stuffing envelopes, working in our office. We have one lady who works on the collections, another who just kind of walks around the house and puts flowers here and there, even throughout the year. She just likes being there and does her part. So that's it. It's the two entities, the town, the friends, the staff. We have one full-time, myself, 3 part-time, and then, of course, all our volunteers. Without them, that's really the whole story of how we function at Pruyn House. And again, we really want to reach out to the community to let everyone know that we are there, and you're welcome to come and visit.
Well, you talk about the gardens and the setting. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. And when you're there in the summer, say there for a summer concert or just a visit to the grounds, it's hard to believe that you're in the middle of all the hustle and bustle that goes on. It's almost like going back in time, and very relaxing. Just a beautiful setting. So all of the people that work on our gardens really do an outstanding job. So every year you go, and I don't know how they do it, but they must all have green thumbs, because it's always beautiful. And also, as you say, different parts of the year, different times of the year, I should say, around the holidays. It's absolutely gorgeous in the main building, main house, and it's just quite an experience. It's as I say, we have a tendency to rush around from day to day, week after week, and we don't often get time to just kind of sit and relax and take in the beauty that's around us. And certainly, whether you want to or not, when you get there, you just have to relax, because it has a way of making you do that. Now, as far as there seems like there's a lot of opportunity for people, number one, to visit the Pruyn House and all of the other buildings, and also participate as community members on a volunteer basis. But for people that want to come to visit, are the hours the same all year, every day? Do you have, what schedule do you follow?
Well, if people wanted to visit, we are there 12 months of the year, Monday through Friday, 9 to 4:30. We certainly have appointments that I make after hours, even on weekends, for people to come. Those are special you have to make. But basically, if one wanted to show up during the day, any weekday, you can, and there's always somebody that'll talk with you a bit, and as well as take you even out to the other buildings if someone's interested enough. On the site, we even have a tool museum, and I notice when gentlemen are part of the visiting group, often I mention the tool museum, and that's probably the one building they want to see, as well as we do have an exhibit building, the Carriage House, where many the carriages are kept, We have a wonderful old sleigh. It's, as you say, it's step back into time when you walk into the carriage house, because we are part of a farming community. So many people have given us farm implements. Many, definitely items from the 1800s. We even have a pea sheller. I once had a local farmer, Ed Engel, show up, and he said, "I heard you have a pea sheller in the carriage house." And I said, "Yes, we do." He says, "Well, I have a whole bushel of peas that need shelling." He said, "Can I use it?" And I said, "Gee, Ed, no one has ever used the pea sheller." And he said, "Oh yeah, well I really need it. I've got to get these done." And so he went in there, thought nothing about getting this thing going, and I watched him use it for the first time when it had never been used before that I had seen. So we do have some wonderful old things. Our tool museum is filled with farm implements, again from another era, the 1800s. We have a wonderful tool chest with some very old tools, planes, and a wonderful donation. By the way, speaking of donations too, just about everything you'll see either in the house or on the property are items that have been donated to us. So I often say to people, before you think to go to the landfill with your things that are coming out of grandma's basement or your old, the garage, I do think about if it's an item that could be added to our collection. So that's been a big plus. Everything in the house, when I show people around the house, of course, right away they'll want to know, is this Mr. Pruyn's desk or his chair? I said, no. When the town bought it in 1983, the house was in very poor condition. It also was empty, and there'd been a big estate sale with the family that had privately owned right up until the gentleman died in 1982. The house was empty. It needed a couple of years of restoration to even have it opened in 1985 when it was. And then I point out all the wonderful old things in the building, everything from the piano to sideboard to all the chairs that we have are all items that were donated. And again, the things in the tool museum, the things in the carriage house, all items that have come to us. So we're grateful for that. Some things on loan, a limited number, but which we've been happy to have. But in the majority of the items are donated, and now under what we call the ownership of the Friends of Pruyn House. If the Friends ever dissolved, of course, they would all revert to the town and ownership. But for now, we are the caretakers of all these items, and they are insured for the ones that are more valuable, not, you know, the minor items that are given. But so that's another plus that we've had as a positive thing that has happened for Pruyn House and its existence, that we've been able to take so many lovely things that people have given to us.
Well, and you know, that's one of the other nice features of the Pruyn House. You know, people connect with other people in their community by making a donation to the Pruyn House, because certainly everyone else gets to enjoy it. So I'm sure that your duties vary from day to day. You never know what's going to pop up. And sometimes there are longer days because if there are events in the evening or whatever, it certainly takes a lot more time. So there is a lot of work that goes into making it a success and keeping everything together and adding to the collections that you have and the programs that you have and the events. I know we have it's an educational and cultural center, and as well as a place for social gatherings. And there is the one-room schoolhouse there.
Yes.
So do you have a lot of schools that like to come for field trips, or families that they like to bring their children in to see what school was like many years ago?
I would say that maybe the less of the number of tourists or visitors that we have might be school children. I find that with the teachers and school groups, they're fairly limited with how, well, as you well know, Paula, from your teaching background, there are certain sites they feel they have to fit in as visits for the year, and Pruyn House is usually lower on the list because it seems they have to make either Tenbrook or Schuyler Mansion or Cherry Hill, and they try to do those, but occasionally we will have a school group come. For instance, at the end of this month, we have Bott Hills Elementary, about 80 children that have come now 4 years in a row at the end of May. And they're only second graders, but believe it or not, I think they enjoy it and they come back every year. The teachers seem to love to come. I would say the majority of our visitors are maybe families, individuals, people that are trying to entertain someone from out of town, and they'll bring them to Pruyn House to show them our site. They're often people that appreciate old furnishings, often people that want to tell you about their very old home that they're in and what looks similar in Pruyn House. By the way, we are a federal style from 1830, 180 years old, federal style with a blend of Greek revival. We have columns here and there. But yeah, once in a while, less frequent the school groups, but I will tell you, I often get Boy Scouts or Girl Scout with troop leaders who want a tour at, say, 6 or 6:30, and we definitely do that as well. That's more manageable in that it's usually a parent or two, actually maybe several parents, with a group of about 8 or 10 children. And we usually start in the house, we go upstairs, show them the bedrooms, downstairs is the kitchen. They always want to know where is the kitchen, because it isn't where they would think it should be. It's in the basement, as many kitchens were in the 1830s. And then we go out on the grounds, and I do show them the schoolhouse, of course. And as soon as they enter the schoolhouse, their eyes light up because they feel very comfortable because it's so familiar to them. But then again, we start telling them about a one-room schoolhouse, and that's what it was. It dates back to 1910. It was brought to this site, to the Pruyn House site, in order to save it. It came in 1995 as a memento or memorial to the 100th anniversary of the town of Colonie. So it came and was placed where it is today at the rear of the property. And we first thought when it came it was going to be just a museum. And we do have the little desks. We have the teacher's desk. But since then, we found that the building gets so much other use as well. We have meetings there. We've had slideshow presentations. The garden ladies love using it, sort of home to them, because they store a lot of their exhibit things. When they have flower shows, they will store their things in the basement of the schoolhouse for the next year to come. They have flower arranging classes. They do their own, sometimes flower arranging for themselves, and for things that, programs that they have, they will use it. So surprisingly, it's no longer just a museum, but a building that's used for meetings. And we even had a company that was using it there for regular meetings. And that changed after a year or two, but they went on to some other site. But it does get a lot of use, which we're delighted. And of course, the most used building is the Burmaster Barn. As you can imagine, it has all the bigger events. That's the only place we can offer. The house is limited, probably 40 people sit down, and maybe a stand-up party of about 70 or 80. But if we have a large group that wants to come and use it for even company party, picnic, family gatherings, that the barn is it. And it's one giant room, 2,000 square feet, and it's definitely used for all kinds of occasions.
Well, I know I've seen some beautiful photographs of weddings that have taken place in the barn, as well as sometimes I've seen extra tents that were set up. And so that would be the type of setting where people would have. Obviously, it would be catered. Because they'd have to bring the food in. and when it's decorated, it's really just beautiful.
It can be
setting.
transformed. It's amazing.
Yes.
It doesn't look like a barn.
Well, the grounds around it lend to it being a beautiful setting for a wedding. So, and as you said, it can be used for many other types of events as well. And we have, we've talked about events throughout the year. You have some events around the holidays and Old Fashioned Sunday in the fall, and the kids really seem to like that. It seems to be getting bigger and bigger every year.
It is.
I know my grandson had his first pony ride.
Oh, did he?
At the Pruyn House, yes.
All right.
At the Old Fashioned Sunday.
You last September.
And that was really exciting for us to see.
Good.
And so there are.
Well, I'll mention that a great source of income for us, actually, and our existence are rentals. And of course, as you mentioned, weddings. Right now, we have 21 weddings scheduled from Memorial Weekend right through the third weekend in October. There's no heat in the barn, so of course we really only tell people it's best to rent between the end of May and October, and then the barn closes for the winter. But I will say that having weddings has been a wonderful source of our income, and we welcome having families there for that, as well as different parties, anniversary parties sometimes. We have companies that enjoy having their company picnic, September, August, September, they'll choose to have it for that. And so because of that, we're really grateful to have the barn, and we get a lot of use of it.
Do you see an increase in the number of events? Is it pretty steady, or have you seen an increase or decrease?
I would say it's been pretty steady. 170 events on average a year, and that's everything from groups that use it just to meet there. For instance, we have groups, the Recorders, who use it regularly for their their social kind of, they play music, and we have the Quilting Ladies, they come for meetings. We have 125th Regiment. It's a Civil War reenactors group that loves meeting in the schoolhouse. They'll come on Saturday mornings. We count those as events as well, even the big parties and rentals, that of course. But yeah, we also, we actually have two fee schedules, which is interesting. We have the private fee schedule, and then we have for not-for-profit groups, such as fundraisers. Say Unity House comes there and has a fundraiser. We've had Parsons visit. So we definitely encourage not-for-profit groups to come use our site as well. It's not just the private rentals, which do help support us greatly, but there is a lower fee schedule for community groups, civic groups, and not-for-profits that like to have the site. And our biggest party of the year now has become the Center for the Disabled, which is having a giant party there on Thursday, June 3rd, I believe. Okay. And they have dignitaries come and famous ball players, and they get quite a crowd of people. And so this is now going to be their fourth year coming to Pruyn House. So we're delighted to welcome them too.
Well, I'm going to be waiting for that invitation, because I'd like to be at that if my calendar's clear. Now we only have a few minutes left, and I think you've given certainly a great description of the Pruyn House. We want to invite everyone to the 2010 concerts in the barn this summer. The first one is July 7th, and that'll be Ernie Williams and the Ernie Williams Band. July 14th will be the German Fest with the Mountain Brauhaus Band. Okay, Brauhaus Band. July 21st, Italian Night with the Good Times Band. July 28th, Polish Night with the Romanowski Brothers Orchestra.
Yes.
And the last concert will be August 4th, Hair of the Dog, and that's the Irish Night, of course. And is there, in about 30 seconds, is there any place else that you'd like to see, any direction you'd like to see the Pruyn House headed for the future, or are you happy right where you are?
Well, we're certainly happy where we are, but yes, we're always planning for the future. There's always upkeep of the property, which is never ending, that we keep focusing on making sure that it stays lovely, stays looking good, stays a happy place to be. I sometimes just look out at the gardens and see 2 or 3 lone people sitting there just looking over the gardens, and I realize it can be a place of peace and tranquility.
Yes.
And that's what we like to emphasize as well. People that don't even visit us in our buildings or in the house and just come, park their car and sit and view the gardens. And we have a nature trail, which we actually have wonderful volunteers that keep up our nature trail. And that's another source of people from the community enjoying just walking the grounds, walking with their dogs on the nature trail. It's just a little haven, a little oasis, as you say, in the middle of a very busy community. Yes. And very near Wolf Road and all the business and community activities. But here we are, this lovely, peaceful spot that we like keeping it that way and focus on keeping it beautiful, keeping it kept up. And so that's where our future is always looking on, how to maintain this site and keep it going for everyone to enjoy.
Well, that sounds great, and we're just about out of time. I want to thank you very much for being here today, and I think our audience has, with this opportunity, learned a lot more about this treasure that is in our town here in Colonie.
Well, I really appreciated the opportunity to come, Paula, talk with you and also tell people more about Pruyn House.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And thank you for tuning in to Colonie Connect.